This has been a great old workbench. I've built a lot of things on it. In fact, it's still a very good workbench. But over the years, the weight of the top has pushed down on my drawers here, making some of them, there you go, difficult to open. And I've planed them and so on, but quite frankly, it's just time for a new design. So I'm going to build a different system that I can roll my rolling tool trolleys underneath. And something also where the top layout is a little bit different, a little bit more like an MFT table, so I can use it as such. But I'll miss this old girl. I very nearly didn't do the change. But as you can see, I've already ripped off the end vise and taped the corner back up for safety there. Hi, welcome to my workshop. My name's Darren. Over the last few weeks I've been dismantling my old workbench and building a new one, not specifically in that order. It was a bit of a mixed event. And this video is just going to be a quick look at the new workbench, why I built it and its features. So first and most striking thing you'll notice is that for a right-handed person I would seemingly have my vise at the wrong end of the workbench, but after years of having it up the other end I just found it was in the wrong spot. I find that I more often will use the vise to make a cut or to work on the end of something where it's better for me to have it on my right hand side. If I'm planing, I'm more likely to use bench dogs. With the dog holes I've got a myriad of different things I can use. I can use dogs that you would buy, dogs that you would build. I've printed up a stack of these little black fences which come in really handy for positioning and stopping against when you're planing. There's all sorts of possibilities for keeping something still. There's also a number of different hold downs available. I've got the standard Festool hold downs here. I also have these sorts available which go through the bench completely like so. You take this piece, it's got quick releases for the thread on the back. You stick that underneath, grab on, and then you can tighten it up in a similar manner to this one. We just tighten that screw I showed you from underneath. And then use the toggle on the front. Of course you'd use a couple of those, but they're good clamps as well and great on a system like this. One of the great things about the MFT3 table is how well the holes are laid out, all nice and square to each other. So you can actually use it for squaring up your timber or for making your joints nice and square and so on. Now I've made these holes in exactly the same sort of pattern as an MFT3, except for the voids obviously where I didn't want holes. And so we can do the same on this one. So we'll take a couple of pieces of timber and put them in against the dogs. That's 90 degrees. Really easy. And that coming in that way, that's 45 degrees. Very handy indeed. With a couple of these little UJK clips, I can also turn the table into an actual MFT3 style table with the track. So now if I want to cut or route a straight line in a piece of wood, I can set my bench up like this with my with my Festool track on there. If I pop a fence in here, we can keep that nice and straight. Let's do that. There we go. And there we are. So I could now, if I wanted to, run my saw across there, or my router and route a channel, and it's all nice and straight. I'm not limited to going this way. There we go, so I can set it up this way if I want as well, which is a lot easier actually, and run my track saw or my router this way. It's a very versatile workbench indeed. Another thing that makes this workbench so versatile is the way I've designed the front. You can see that the top is flush with the face and the legs, and that allows me to clamp pieces to the front. I can sandwich them in the vise here, but I have T-track running across here and down each of the legs, and that allows me to further clamp and support things to the front. Here, I'll show you. I've designed these little stops or supports, which are basically just a tapered cylinder with a 3-degree taper on it, and they go against the workbench, and because of the taper it helps the wood basically slide. It doesn't really slide, but gravity holds it against the bench. I'll show you what I mean in just a tick with those. I've also printed out some of these, and these are little clamps that I can use. So I've got 2 short ones and 2 long ones, and you would think that plastic clamps aren't that strong, but let me tell you, these apply a fair old bit of force and certainly do the job well. Now imagine I wanted to work on this long edge of this piece of timber to plane it, and I wanted it held upright. What I could do is clamp it in the vise like so, throw a couple of supports underneath it, and there we go. And then if I want, I can add a clamp and clamp the other end to the side of the bench, and that is not going anywhere. That's well supported underneath, so now the lower supports will stop it from being pushed downwards, and the 2 clamps are holding it against the face of the bench. I can come back, excuse my back, grab my plane and start working the edge. Having my tool trolleys under the bench means that everything's right at my fingertips whenever I need it, and that's very handy. As you can see, the workbench isn't 100% finished yet. We've got a couple of cupboards to go into it yet for tool storage. Well, 3 actually. 2 at the back of the workbench here and 1 round the side. But I couldn't really leave this video until that was done, because that's a while away from completion. I've got other things I wanted to show you, and I can't really do videos on the other things while this is still in secrecy, because it'd be all too obvious. You'd see this and go, hey, hang on, different workbench. So yeah, still more work to do on it, but not too much. We're awful close to completion. Okay, hopefully that's been of some help. One of the main reasons I wanted to show it to you was it'll give you some ideas if you're building a bench of your own, what it is you might want to do. I thoroughly recommend keeping your lid flush with your legs so that you can clamp at the front. I went years without that on my last workbench, and would have loved it. Really would have loved it. One of the reasons I'm building the new. This workbench is slightly smaller than the last one, which gives me, or will give me when I've tidied up, a little bit more floor space, which is great. And it's arranged the tools better. So now I have the tools directly underneath me. The tool trolleys that used to be behind, I used to have to turn around and go to, are now right there. And the tool trolley that was over the other side is right here. So I've got 3 tool trolleys, all within very close reach. My screws are over there now, which is very close to me. It's going to very much speed up my overall production. So I'm pretty happy with it, and I'm looking forward to using it and making a few projects. But like I say, the point of me showing it to you really is to give you some ideas if you're building a workbench of your own. I will make a video on the making of this workbench very shortly. It shall be out. But in the meantime, have a great one. I hope it's been of some help. and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.